Alright guys, welcome to the Terminator Q&A, and I can tell you it's going to be a long one because we got a total of about 45 questions, nearly 50 questions here, and as always I want to thank everyone for sending in questions, and once again, if I did not answer someone's question, it usually means YouTube was being a jerk and either marked it as spam or didn't have it show up at all. But regardless, I want to thank everyone who did turn in questions, so let's get started with this Terminator Q&A, starting off with Green Arrow Hunter, who asks, first question is, how would you write a Terminator Jurassic Park crossover? I think what I would like to do is, if I could write a Terminator Jurassic Park crossover, I think I would have it that the dinosaurs have been, they've been away from the whole apocalypse thing. They've been, managed to survive the total destruction of Judgment Day, and a group of Terminators are pretty much, their whole job is to seek out and destroy any form of organic life, and they run into Isla Nublar and Isla Sorna. And the dinosaurs aren't too happy about robots showing up, so dinosaurs versus robots, that's pretty much all I got. Second question, would you like to see a RoboCop versus Terminator live-action movie, and would you think it would work? Well, yes, I would like to see a Terminator versus RoboCop movie, but not based off of the Frank Miller story. Seriously. It's not that it's bad. It's not that the Terminator RoboCop crossover by Frank Miller's bad. It's batshit insane. No, really, it is, completely bonkers. And it makes no sense. It's cool, but at the same time, it makes no fucking sense. And it's crazy. It's, seriously, it's weird because I can't even explain it, it's so crazy. The best way I could say is that there's a scene where you have a legion of RoboCops flying through the air in the future. Yeah, that happens. So, would I like to see it? Yeah, but not exactly based off of the Frank Miller story, because I don't think people can handle that much insanity. Anyway, your final question is, how would you write a Terminator Star Wars story? I don't know. Maybe. See, I don't know. I really don't know how that would work, honestly. So, sadly, I don't know what to tell you on that one. But thank you for those questions regardless. Green Arrow Hunter, moving on now to Cody Bradish, who asks, would John Rambo and John Matrix be able to survive the Skynet's nuclear holocaust, and if so, how big a role do you think they want to play in the War of Judgment Day? John Rambo and John Matrix from Commando. I think they could survive. I think it would be hilarious if Skynet took the likeness of John Matrix and then applied it to the skin of the T-800. That's how it based the design off of John Matrix. I think that'd be hilarious. Anyway, so second question: how do you think the basic plot for a Star Trek Next Generation Terminator crossover would play out? I think what I would like to do is something in the vein of the recent Star Trek Planet of the Apes crossover, where the Enterprise finds itself in an alternate timeline where machines have taken over. The Enterprise has literally stumbled into an alternate timeline through, I don't know, science means, and yeah, they're stuck. Picard and all of them are stuck in an alternate timeline where, yeah, the machines took over and mankind's near extinction. There you go, that's the basic plot. That it just crossed into an alternate timeline. Third question, what is your opinion on the Sarah Connor Chronicles? I liked it. I think that it didn't get enough time to breathe, unfortunately. I don't think it got enough time to really expand on itself. I thought it was pretty good. If not, it really kind of... It doesn't make a lot of sense when you think about it, of how it works. Teenage John Connor and, middle-aged Sarah Connor, older Sarah Connor, but not really old. You know what I mean? And the female Terminator thing didn't really it got a little confusing, but they made it still work. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it got enough time to breathe because, it was on Fox. What do you expect? Anyway, thank you for those questions, Cody. Moving on now to Lydia Cerebros, I know I keep butchering your name, Lydia, so I'll just say Lydia. I'm sorry. First question, if you could recast Kyle Reese, who would you have playing him? I really suck at recasting, as most of you guys know. Sorry, I had to get something to drink there. But yeah, like I said, I really suck at recasting, but I think what in Terminator Genisys for Kyle Reese, The problem with Kyle Reese is that they try to make him this buff, really manly man type character, when, if you look at the original Terminator film, Kyle Reese is a scrawny, he doesn't look like the soldier type. He actually looks like someone who's just crawled out of, he's just crawled out of, the dumpster. And he's this very grungy looking character. So, I don't know who exactly you could get to play him. And not like someone who's just huge and, someone who's actually just a little scrawny, but, well, not scrawny, wiry. There's the better word, wiry. And, just give him a little bit of scruff. I don't know who could play him, honestly. I really, really don't. Yeah, I got nothing, unfortunately. But it would be everyone else except... Oh, God, I don't even care about the guy's name. And I know he's going to be Captain Boomerang in Suicide Squad. I don't even care. Anyway, think of that question. Second question. If Sarah Connor and Michonne from Walking Dead got into a fight, who would win? That's a tough one. I'm going to have to say Sarah, because she does have some, she did train herself pretty well. She trained, and, she's good in multiple forms of firearms, and Michonne's got to get in close with that sword, you know what I mean? Anyway, think of that question. Third question, with Terminator Genesis being lackluster, how would you reboot the franchise? Okay, I know I got this question in multiple forms, but I think how I would reboot the franchise is leave it alone. What I'd like to do, honestly, if I was given a Terminator film, is focus in the time of the war, similar to how Terminator Salvation did, but really what I'd like to do is focus on a different group, focus on, have a focus in the future, with the lasers, not with, the early days of the war, more like it's the, mid-days, like we're still it's not the end of the war, but we're midway through, and we're just following a group from, I don't know, Texas, or a resistance group in Oregon, or a resistance group in, like, Japan, and we're just following them as, kind of make it like an anthology story, just like Tales of the Resistance, and how they combat the Terminators, and not focus on John Connor or Kyle Reese or any of those characters, because I feel like you can do so much with Terminator without time travel, and have a lot of fun with it as well, and focus on more than just those characters. Anyway, so kind of do like Terminator Salvation, but, better. Anyway, so thank you for those questions, Lydia. Moving on now to 146 Zigzag, who asks, would you have preferred if they rebooted Terminator instead of doing T3? I feel like, they did try that with Genesis, but look how that went. But I think, well, I look back at T3, and it's still not great. It is still not a great film. But there are some moments in there I like. There are some things I like that are good in there. And I know, I think I got a question going further that will allow me to go further into explaining why. But I don't know if a reboot would have helped at all. Anyway, second question. Who do you think was scarier, T-800 in the first movie or the T-1000 in 2? That's a tough one. That is, honest to God, a tough one, because Arnold in the first movie was just like this walking tank, which you could do nothing to stop him. And I mean, yeah, even when he was just like broken, his legs were smashed, this guy kept coming at you. He just kept coming no matter what you did. Whereas the T-1000 could be anybody, and, the thing was a friggin' serial killer. And Robert Patrick, and I think this is the problem that went on from T3 through the, Salvation and Genesis. That they were trying to make the Terminators, more machine-like, especially with TX. Oh, God, I hated TX. First off, they make her so frickin' OP, and the actress playing her just sucks. And yes, I understand. Well, she's supposed to be a robot. She's not supposed to be a great actress. She's supposed to act robotic. Yeah, but you look at Robert Patrick's performance, and you look at Schwarzenegger's performance in the first movie, while they are still robotic, you could give them a second look, especially with Robert Patrick's with the T-1000, that, yeah, you wouldn't think about it too much in a crowd, or they still act a bit human, but, if you stared at them too long, it's like, well, there's something wrong with you, but this applies very much to the T-1000, where it could pass off as a normal human. And it could be, that's scary that a normal person could be a living could be this psychotic liquid robot thing. Whereas the TX, you look at the TX and just go, man, I know you're this OP robot, and yeah, admittedly the fight between the T-800 and the TX is pretty cool, but I just didn't care about that character. Just nothing seemed threatening about her. When she did the whole boob inflate joke in the third movie, I was literally like, I'm done with you. The moment she did that, I was like, I don't even care about this character anymore. Yeah, so I guess, and then you got the T8, but getting back to the T-800 in 1, this thing just kept coming at you, and this thing just mows down anything in front of it. The T-1000 was a little less direct, so, but yeah, it was still scary as hell, and the effects are still good. It's kind of like looking at Jurassic Park. The effects still work in Judgment Day as they do in Jurassic Park. So I might actually give it to the T-1000. As much as I loved the T-800 in the first movie, T-1000. Third question, what do you think of John Connor's father being one of his soldiers from the future? Do you like it showing the severity of changing history, or do you hate it for being a ridiculous plot contrivance? I never really thought of it as a plot contrivance. He's basically sending his mother a dick in a box. That's how I kind of always said it. He's like, I'm going to make sure the making of me actually happens. Go, Reese, go! You see, that's how it works in my mind. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you for those questions, Zigzag. Moving on now to Darth Venom, who asks, what would the T-800 think of Cable from X-Men? I think that would be a kind of a kick-ass team-up. I think that would be really kind of cool. But yeah, I think... it wouldn't really think. It would just be another... Depending on which Terminator, the T-800 would be... I think the T-800 would look at it and go, yeah, that thing's a threat. But yeah, second question. If the Decepticons team up with Skynet to destroy the Autobots, what happens then? There is no team up with Skynet. Skynet would just be trying to control the Cybertronians in general and just use them. There is no team up here. So we'd all be screwed. Alright, what would happen if Skynet was monitored by S.H.I.E.L.D., and how would S.H.I.E.L.D. react to all this? Yeah, there's nothing, S.H.I.E.L.D. technology is good, but Skynet looks like it could break through a majority of things in the Marvel Universe, so imagine if it took control of the helicarrier. Just imagine that scene in Winter Soldier, just a lot worse. Sorry to get something to drink. Thinking of those questions, Darth Venom, moving on now to Eugeros Vasilores, who asks, in a war between Ultron and his army and Skynet and the Terminators, who do you reckon would win? Alright, who do I reckon would win? In my old-timey, minor voice, who do I reckon would win? You see, when you compare, and this is a question this is a term I'm going to be using a lot in this Q&A, is when you're trying to compare Ultron against Skynet, it's kind of like if Windows Vista picked a fight with Windows 10, with Windows 10. Yeah, that's Skynet. The Skynet's the Windows Vista. It's fighting Windows 10. You tell me how that's gonna go down. Because really, Ultron and his army, even one Ultron's very sophisticated more than the Terminators, and Ultron, people have tried to break into his brain before, and he's put up some pretty powerful firewalls. So, gotta give it to Ultron. Ultron and his army of hymns. Yeah, there's a army of hymns. Yay, he's fighting with prayer. Anyway. Second question. If the T-800 zapped to 1997 and walks into a bar inside as Jack Slater, Dutch Chauffeur, Douglas Quaid, John Matrix, Conan the Barbarian, Mr. Freeze, all enjoying a beer until naked Terminator walks in, what happens next? Then it's a party. That's all I'm going to say. Then it's a party. Oh, god damn it. Anyway, third question. In a fight between the T-800 and the Predator, who would win? T-800 has the shotgun, AR, and laser gun Magnum pistol. The Predator has his cloak device, mask, breastplate. I'm going to have to say it's a tough one, and technically the Terminators and Predators have fought before in the Ghastly, and I know someone asked me this question, I'll go further into it. The downright horrific crossover that is Alien versus Predator versus Terminator. If someone out there